I think the last misconception about law school, I don't know why everybody thinks this. Everybody was asking me this. The most common misconception that I get is that hello and welcome back to Law and Lifestyle with Chelsea, a channel that encourages you to break through the glass ceiling and unleash your fullest potential by providing transparent advice and insights on everything law, lifestyle, and faith. If you haven't watched my video from last week, make sure to pause this video and go in the description box below and watch the last video that I made. As always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so that you'll be the first to know when I post my weekly Saturday uploads. For today's video, I am so excited because I will be talking about debunking common law school myths. A lot of people come to me with kind of outlandish questions and misconceptions about what will actually happen in law school. And so I'm just here to talk about my own personal experiences based on some of the common myths that I've gotten and talk you guys through them. The first myth is that law school is like the movies, or like Scandal, or like How to Get Away with Murder, or like Legally Blonde. And some of it is true, but most isn't. For example, how many of you guys remember in How to Get Away with Murder when Wes was asked to stand up in class and answer Annalise's questions?
What was the mens rea? Wesley Gibbons.
The mens rea? Right.
This kind of back and forth between the professor and a randomly selected student is what we refer to in law school as cold calling, or the Socratic method of teaching. For those of you who don't know what cold calling is when a professor picks on you at random to give information based on what you should have read in a previous class. And cold calling does happen, but it's really not like the movies. However, I'm not even gonna lie, when a professor calls you at random, you feel as though you're standing up in class and everybody's watching you, your heart is racing, you don't know what question that the professor is gonna ask you next. So that kind of dramatization is really what happens internally within when you're cold called. And so coming into law school, you really gotta be on your game and on top of reading, because you never really know when a professor will call you. And some professors use participation and how well you are prepared for class as a factor into your ultimate grade. Speaking of grading, another common misconception is that the grading in law school is similar to master's grading or other grad school-like grading, and it's really not. Law school is based off of one exam. And so it's really not like master's where you're graded on various different assessments, projects, group work, papers, and things alike. Most substantive core law classes, especially your 1L year, are based off of a midterm, which is usually ungraded, and then you have your final exam. Another common misconception about law school is that you need legal experience to come into law school. That is false. You do not need any prior legal experience to come into law school and do well. Another myth and misconception that a lot of people have about law school is that in undergrad, you have to have majored in humanities or government, like political science, philosophy, English, or other majors alike to succeed, and that is not true. There is no requirement for undergraduate major in law school. I know med students, physical therapy, pharmacy, dentistry, they all have requirements that they have to fulfill in undergrad before they can apply, but law school isn't the same. And actually, a lot of people don't know that even if you have a hard science background, I know people think like science and law are on the complete opposite totem poles, but trust me, there are intersections. The law is everywhere around you. So even if you do have a hard science background, you can still go to law school. And a lot of people who do have a hard science background go into patent law, and patent attorneys make money. They make so much money. Another common misconception about law school is that you need to go to one of the top law schools in order to excel and do well. Although there is some truth in the correlation between the law school that you go to and the percentage of job employments after you graduate, you can really make the best out of anything, you know, as long as you go to a school that is ABA accredited and, you know, you're doing the right things, you're networking, you're talking to professionals in the field, you're following the advice that I gave you guys on how to network in the first video, you will be okay. So I do not think that it's T14 or nothing. And T14 refers to top 14 law schools. There are plenty of other programs and other schools that could even be more beneficial to you. For example, a lot of students come to my law school, Syracuse University College of Law, because of their forensics dual degree program. So if you're somebody who's really interested in like forensics and its intersection with law, Syracuse would be a good school for you. I believe that Syracuse is actually one of the only ones in the country. If you guys want tips and advice as to how to choose the law school that's for you and what I did when I was choosing law schools, please make sure to comment down below and I'll definitely make that video for you guys. I think the last misconception about law school, I don't know why everybody thinks this, everybody was asking me this. The most common misconception that I get is that when you go to law school, you're gonna find your husband or your wife. I can't tell you how many people come into law school thinking, I'm gonna find my husband or I'm gonna find my wife. Let me tell you, is a lie. I'm not gonna say that everybody doesn't find a spouse. There are some people that I actually know that have married and came to law school and found their spouses in law school. But don't fall into the hype and pressure thinking you're gonna come to law school and find the perfect person. Oftentimes I find that because you're all in this high, intense stress environment, relationships sometimes become a little bit difficult when you're in law school. So focus on your books, okay? Focus on the books, and then afterward, you know, you can find the perfect person. And what I've also realized is a lot of people go to networking events with med students. I don't know what this weird kind of fantasy is in pairing med students and law students together, but it is a thing, and people think that like a lawyer is supposed to marry a doctor and they're supposed to be together. So I know a lot of students come into law school wanting to find actually a doctor bae. Thank you all for tuning in to today's video where I debunked common myths about law school. I hope you learned a lot and that you have more clarity when it comes to the things of law. And I also hope that you guys will tune in next week for another fire upload.